Of the year, I was playing in one of those wonderful black tin boxes that they call a rock club in Germany. It was rather warm. There was a small puddle where I was standing and everything, and I was like, but I managed to kind of like get through 105 minutes of set and deliver all the songs and everything, but it was like I must have lost 2 or 3 pounds. And the funny thing, I had a brand new song I could have played that would probably have sorted it all out, and I didn't think about it. Unfortunately, until I got to the sound check here. So I thought, as I didn't play this, I might as well play it here. So there's a little bit of a story with this song, and it's this story. Last month, the BBC contacted me to ask if I would like to take part in a programme about the Titanic. And I thought, right, the Titanic. I am already sick of the Titanic already. It's not even, you know, it's not even sunk yet 100 years ago. And they said, what, you know, would you like to write a song about the Titanic for a live broadcast on the night, you know, actually the night it happened? And I was like, oh, that's really terrible. How could you possibly write a song about the Titanic that doesn't have Celine Dion breathing down your neck? It doesn't have Kate Winslet out there, you know. So I'm like, you know, and then there's only one reason, for those of you who are budding songwriters, there's only one reason to write a song, and that is to offer a different perspective that you haven't heard or you don't see being expressed. Doesn't matter what you write about. You can write it about your dog, you can write it about football, love, whatever it is. The only justification for actually putting the pen on the piece of paper is you have a different perspective that you can add to the conversation. So, a mischievous light went on in my head, and I thought, you know what? In all this bollocks about the Titanic and everything, you never hear anything from the perspective of the iceberg. Which, after all, is on its own journey. It has its own priorities. It's just floating along off the Grand Banks of... I'm doing the Kate Winslet again, aren't I? Sorry. There's a polar bear on it, at the front of it. I don't know. So, partly as a way to say to this nice person from the BBC, and they are nice people at the BBC, partly as a way to not say, oh, for fuck's sake, mate, fuck off. That's right. I emailed him back and said, I tell you what, I've never heard a song from the perspective of the iceberg. And instead of saying, oh, don't be stupid, Bill, he said, oh, that sounds interesting. And there's something about when you're a songwriter, I don't know, there's something about like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get into the mind of an iceberg. Yeah. And I'm growling because that's what the smallest icebergs are called, growlers. Growler, it's a growler. And the next one up is called a bergy bit. And then after that it's a bit boring, it's small, medium and large. For you, sir, extra large. So this is my marvellously titled Song of the Iceberg. But it kind of tries to get into a very long journey that are the constituents of an iceberg. Icebergs are made, you know this already, I don't have to share this, icebergs are made of fresh water, right? You know this shit. They're not salt water, that's why they fizz around the edges. I told you, mate, they're made of fresh water, icebergs. You can drink them, they're not like salt water. Didn't you pay any fucking attention in science? No. Don't be fucking looking it up on the internet while I'm talking either. That's the worst thing, isn't it? A fucking Wi-Fi heckler. Let's see where this iceberg starts its life. Once I was a dewdrop 1,000,000 years ago, rose up on a misty day into the clouds and rolled away. Born again a raindrop, I fell to earth as rain, to rise and fall and rise and fall and rise and fall again. Rise and fall, fresh water and brine, rise and fall until the end of time. Rise and fall, fresh water and brine, rise and fall. fall until the end of time. Once I was a snowflake 10,000 years ago, drifted on a night so deep, fell into a frozen sleep. Born again an iceberg we carved in Baffin Bay, and waited for the moon-hauled tides to carry us away. Rise and fall, fresh water and brine. Rise and fall until the end of time. Rise and fall, fresh water and brine. Rise and fall until the end of time. A single fleeting moment in a vast ocean of time, drifting on a night so calm, pass me by, I mean no harm. A mountain made of raindrops goes floating on its way, and dreams of making rainbows on some distant summer's day.